Good morning. Something really different today. My 6 takeaways from the SBS 2024 event that I went to in Birmingham last week. This is a business event held by Theo Paphitis, one of the, he used to be on Dragon's Den, so you would recognise him. It's for SBS winners. Full transparency, I'm not an SBS winner. I went with somebody else, but I will talk about that right at the end, okay? There's quite a few things I want to cover with my 6 takeaways, so bear with me. I think some of it you will find really useful, inspirational, helpful. There'll be links to the people that I'm talking about as well. Let's just crack straight on, shall we? So, we had an input from Theo initially himself, and he always does a little talk about what's happened over the last 12 months. And obviously it has been a really difficult 12 months. We've had cost of living, we've still got the ongoing crisis in Ukraine and Gaza. We're in a recession now, or we were in a recession at the end of last year. It's been tricky, but he did make one statement which I found quite interesting. Growth can come from many opportunities, which is so true. And he expanded on that by saying that adapting your business, creating new lines and disrupting your sector are 3 key points. Disrupting your sector, keep that in mind because I will come back to that later on in this video. I don't believe that means you have to upset everybody in your industry unless you choose to. Depends how controversial you want to be. It does mean thinking outside of the box sometimes, and again more about that in a moment. But I feel that it's something that I have not done a lot in both my businesses, but I have probably done things slightly differently. So I'm a big fan of not disrupting your sector as in upsetting, but just bringing in new things and having an open mind. So that's number 1, growth. Number 2, we had an input from Google. So AI, use it. If you don't, your competitors will and are using it. Much of what they said went above my head. It was all about using AI to create assets to be used in marketing, etc. My takeaway, however, from them was to use it to support you and inspire you, but not to do all your work for you, so not to do all your writing. And I've always said this, you can tell a mile off if something's been written by AI. Prompt engineering is really important. So by that I mean what you put into AI will dictate what you get out of AI. The more information you give it and the more specific you are, the better quality the reaction or the information you will get back from them. Even Google is saying you have to play around with it, you have to see what works for you. That does take time, unfortunately, but it is a process you need to play with and learn. Number 3, the customer cycle. So this is like a customer buying journey is a cycle, and it has changed over the last 10-12 years. And they touched upon a thing called the McKinsey customer cycle, which I've looked up. And actually it's exactly what I do anyway. So clearly I'm doing something right, which is brilliant. So the McKinsey customer cycle, McKinsey and Company are a company that help other businesses and they advise them. And it goes from everything from small companies up to big companies, and they help them solve problems and become better at what they do. And their customer cycle it's a model in a map format, and it's circular, as you would imagine, and it maps out the way people buy these days. So it starts with awareness, and often for most of us that will be online, social media. Then they'll consider about whether they want to buy it. Or whatever you're offering. And in days gone by, they used to say that you had to have 7 touch points. So a customer used to have to see you 7 times before they would commit to buying something from you. Because social media in particular is such a busy place now, that has gone up tenfold. I've even heard of talks about 200 times. Now, I don't know whether that's the truth or not, but I do know it takes a lot longer or a lot more being there for people to make a decision. So consideration is quite an interesting one. And then purchase, that's when somebody actually buys something from you. So that's the 3rd step in the circle. Then retention. Now retention is when somebody comes back to you and buys from you again. If you offer good service, if you have a fantastic product. If you keep in touch with them by email, which I'm always banging on about, that will all help with your customer retention. And loyalty is the final thing in the circle, and so it just keeps going round. But you'll miss out awareness and consideration after the first cycle. You'll just go from purchase, retention, loyalty, purchase, retention, loyalty. So it's an interesting one. Have a look at it, but it's just something that I looked into a bit more as it was mentioned. So in a nutshell, it really is loyalty and retaining existing customers is really important. That's probably my takeaway. Community, number 4, community. You cannot grow a business alone. And this is something that's cropped up time and time again in my years in business. But it really, Theo put it quite bluntly, you need to be part of a bigger community to be successful, which I found really interesting because I have been parts of various communities over the years, and each of those communities has helped to take me up to the next level or the next step or the next stage in my business growth. And funnily enough, my soap suite, my membership for UK soap business owners or soap and skincare business owners is full of really useful and tangible resources and little courses which teach people how to do things to get them to a certain point. But the one thing that comes back time and time again is community. And we have a couple of Zooms each month, and the community and those Zooms are where we really do get the gold, and we do brainstorming and we get information. So I would agree with that. Community is essential. Then we had guest speakers. We had quite a few guest speakers. I'll talk about them now, but my takeaway from those is age is irrelevant when starting a business. And the reason for that is we had Susan Bonner from the British Craft House. That is a platform for authentic British handmade goods, and it was a direct sort of challenge to Etsy, really, because Etsy used to be very much like that, although worldwide, but now people claim to make things by hand, but actually they've bought them from China and they're pretending they're by hand. They're not authentic. So Susan Bonner, amazing woman, she's achieved so much. She would have been, I think she must be 57, 58 now, and she started the British Craft House 4 or 5 years ago. So age is irrelevant when starting a business. I'll pop a link to her platform below. And then NatWest, who sponsor the event, or one of the sponsors, they also interviewed 3 business owners, and this still comes under the age is irrelevant when starting a business takeaway. And there's 2 women in particular that I want to just highlight. Firstly, there was Maxine Laceby from Absolute Collagen. She was 49 when she started her business. She's now 57, 58. She's got 73 employees. She turns more than £30 million a year. And she could be seen as an industry disruptor. I'll come back to that in a minute, again, along with Susan Bonner. She's got no degree, no formal qualifications, left school at 16. I don't know what with, but she hated school. She spent much of her adult life as a full-time mum, so not in business, and she's achieved an amazing business. Then the second lady I want to talk about is Shalom Lloyd. She has a business called Naturally Tiwa. It's a skincare business, and she started it because her son had really awful eczema, and we're talking skin bleeding eczema. She's a qualified pharmacist, but she drew on her knowledge, and then she just formulated in her kitchen this product which sorted out her son's skin really quickly, and it was based on shea butter, which, as we all know, is brilliant for skincare. She's drawn on her African heritage for her inspiration and her products. She's taken it one step further, and she's actually built a factory in Nigeria where they then, I presume, process and source their shea butter, and that employs and empowers women as well and allows them to ethically source their shea butter. So again, she didn't start this at 16, 17, 18. Yes, she did have some background as a pharmacist, but she would have been very much down the medical side. And this has taken her much more down the natural route, and she's created this amazing business, and she's helping women in Nigeria as well. I'll put links to both of their websites below. So I just wanted to highlight those as going back to Theo's comment about being an industry disruptor at the beginning. I just wanted to highlight that because I feel that all of them in some way are disruptors. So Susan Bonner, she disrupted the industry by competing against Etsy and having the foresight and the energy and well, I don't know how she did it, to actually create her own platform, which is massive. And she said it has been really stressful and still is, but she's just done such an amazing job of it. Maxine Laceby, let's be honest, collagen could be questionable. There will be lovers and haters, and she was older in her life when she did it. And Shalom Lloyd, I wouldn't suggest that she's an industry disruptor as such, because what she's done with the shea butter and eczema, a lot of other people have done that, but she has taken it one step further. And I'm not suggesting you do that. I would not want to commit to such a massive project as that, but it's just really inspiring. So age is irrelevant when starting a business. The sixth takeaway is from our fireside talk guest speaker in the afternoon, Stacey Solomon. She was amazing, but my takeaway from her was say yes to everything and you are winning at life. She's got such a good story. She came from a very poor background, one of 7 children. I'm sure you can look it up if you want to. She's amazing, kind, genuine, really supportive of small businesses. But her one thing she said, which really struck me, was that she went to do the X Factor audition. Was it X Factor? I think it was X Factor. And she said, I can't believe I'm here. Even if I don't win, I don't care. I've won by just being here. The fact I'm here is amazing. So I was so busy listening to her, I just didn't write down anything because she was really engaging and really interesting to listen to. But I do remember her saying, if it doesn't work out, so be it. You've tried. It doesn't matter. You've done more than other people. And she also said, ignore the trolls on social media. Now, I'm sure we all get comments on social media from time to time which upset us. And it does. It upsets me as well. But they're a person on the end of a computer who may be having a bad day or know nothing about you, know nothing about your business, know nothing about your life. So that was really refreshing. And she's just so, she's got 5 children. She says she does what she does and then she goes back and she's a really great mum and she's there for them as much as she can be, but she can't be there for them all the time. Then they're being well looked after. It's fine. Don't feel guilty. And I found that really good as well. And the last thing from her is another company, which I feel is probably a disruptor, is so Stacey was there really because she's invested in a company called Rehab Your Hair. And it's all about hair care products. And she did that because she was using their products, absolutely loved them, and could not understand why they were not a bigger company than they already were. So she's reached out and invested in them. And their website is unique. It's very much them. It's quirky. They've got some quite interesting products on there. And particularly, they've got shampoo and conditioner sheets, which dissolve when you're using them. So there's no packaging, no plastic, which is quite innovative, I feel. And another example of how in the soap and skincare industry, you can still think outside of the box. Again, I know that's quite a tricky one, creating a product like that, but it's just really evidence that it's doable. And sometimes you just need to think outside the box a little bit and do some research. So again, take away from that, say yes to everything, you're winning at life. And just, she was amazing. She really was. So that was my 6 takeaways. I will put the necessary links underneath for all of those, and I will also put a link for information on how you can apply to be an SBS winner. Theo he has 6 winners every week, 3 on Instagram, 3 on Twitter, so you can apply on either platform. I'm going to be doing it this year because I've been through 3 years with my friend from the Candle Coach, Jane, but I really would like to win on my own merits, so I will be entering as well. It'd be amazing to be able to meet other soap and skincare businesses from my community there. And I'm going to shut up now because I've waffled on long enough. Okay.